from Alameda, California, the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network presents Flying High Over the Zone with the Zigzag Man.
I am back, and I'm joined by my old buddy from the Holy City Zoo, the Punchline, San Francisco Comedy. Many years ago, we had the most fun at the 4th Street Bar or whatever it was in San Rafael way back in the day. Michael, Rocky, Grunner, what it is.
It is. I'm in Las Vegas. It's a crazy town. I was out last night partying, and it was unbelievable. I'm 65 years old. I can't believe I could still get a spontaneous erection.
I'd like to know the guy who caused that.
It wasn't a guy. It was a black woman, and she was an unbelievably beautiful woman. And she sang rap, and she sang regular music. And
Rocky, you've been among the drag community in San Francisco. No, you haven't. It was a woman, and you erected a 65-year-old man, and news was made in Las Vegas. It kind of superseded all that massacre talk that's been going on for a week and a half. That's not to be joked about. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's horrible. But, Rocky, you lived in Northern California. We're both New Yorkers by birth. And we came out here for different reasons. I was in the Air Force. That brought me out to California. Look what...
And I was running from the law.
Well, better you to run than to be caught. If you look at it that way.
Well, you know,
sometimes you got to run.
I shot the sheriff, but I didn't kill the deputy.
Oh, well, that was nice of you. Society appreciates that, and the law enforcement community in total appreciates that. Thank you, Michael. I want to know, you moved out to California, you lived here as I did 30, 40 years, some odd years.
I didn't just move out, I hitchhiked to California.
Okay. And you
I hitchhiked
and
New York to
and you
Berkeley.
set up your life out here. And 3 or 4 years ago, you and your lovely daughter, Jessie, just decided we're going to Las Vegas. I want to ask you what the major differences are between living in California and living in Las Vegas. The comedy thing notwithstanding, none of that. Just day-to-day life as a citizen, first in California, then in Vegas. Tell me about it.
Well, Las Vegas is a much cheaper place to live as far as rent and whatever. I paid $24.50 for my house in California in 2001. And the apartment that we live in now is just $1,200. And, it gets hot during the summer, during the warm weather, but right now it's the best time in Las Vegas. It's 80 degrees, and it'll be down in the 60s tonight. And after I talk to Ralph here, I'm going to take my dog out to the park and walk my dog. And then I'm going to go out and try to do a set somewhere. And, life is life wherever you live it.
I'm going to ask you, Rocky, what's changed about the comedy industry in the 30-some-odd years that you've been doing it?
Well, I quit for like 25 years, and, a lot of people, people have a different idea about what's funny. And, you can't talk in front of other comedians because if you intimate that somebody's not funny, they'll go off on you because it's very important to their heart that they be perceived perceived as funny. Whereas me, somebody wrote in my 6th grade graduating, when I graduated the 6th grade, 10 little fingers, 10 little toes, 1 big mouth, and oh, how it goes. And things
Rocky, I
changed.
failed to congratulate you. That was last Thursday on your graduation. And you were
My 6th grade graduate, me and Jethro Bodine.
Yeah, okay, right. And I'd like to congratulate you for that. You've got all the basic, everything down, but works and plays well with others. That's always been an issue. And
it always said on the side of my report card, gets along well with others.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's a good thing. You grew up in New York, in Queens, as did I, a different part of Queens. You were out past Flushing.
I went to Bayside High School, and you went to Newtown High School.
Right, and our two high schools were in the same division in athletic stuff. And, wow, I went back to New York about a year ago, Rocky, and I took an Airbnb, Tally and I did, in the neighborhood in Jackson Heights that I grew up in. And
it's changed.
It went from, oh, my God, it's a beautiful, eclectic, Spanish, all kinds of Mexican and Colombian food. From a few things are the same. Went to my junior high school, went back to my public school, had a reunion in the park with a bunch of Jackson Heights folks. It was cool beans for an old guy to go back and reconnect with the geography and the city itself. City itself is really gentrified. I don't know if you remember Corona.
I do.
Right next to
Louis Armstrong's. You went to Louis Armstrong's house in Jamaica, right?
No, it was in Corona. Louis Armstrong's house. It's now a museum. We went back there. There are pictures on my Facebook. On my front page is a picture of Callie and I in front of the museum with a poster of, one of those.
I saw that.
Yeah, pretty cool to get high for me in the garden. I smoked in the garden that he had.
It's too bad Louis wasn't there to burn it with you.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Louis Armstrong was the greatest trumpeter of all time.
No question.
He's the greatest trumpeter.
And there in that museum was a trumpet right in the hallway there of Louis' trumpet that was given to him by the King of England, for crying out loud.
He started out as a cornet. He started out as a cornet player and then changed to the trumpet.
I didn't know that. Know that. But the museum is trippy only because it's within walking distance from where I grew up in Jackson Heights, and the neighborhood itself the neighborhood of Corona has totally changed.
White people have moved in.
White people and a lot of Spanish people, and they bring a wonderful spirit to the city. And I
habla español.
Bringing marijuana into Jackson Heights in 1963. I'd like to give them a little credit in introducing me as a young scofflaw.
Let me tell you a short story. Yesterday, I contacted a guy in Brazil that I know, and he put me in touch with another guy I know in Brazil, and that second guy was in Brooklyn. And my friend in Queens couldn't get any weed. So I contacted the Brazilian in Brooklyn, and they delivered weed to my friend in Queens.
Nice, Rocky. You still got it, man.
All through video chat.
Wow.
And so if that's not crazy...
I can't have that. I have a face for radio. And everybody knows it, so
it's really crazy that you could have something delivered 3,000 miles away. It made my friend really happy.
Yeah, good.
And
God bless him.
Pal's a good guy. he's a very good guy. He's in a wheelchair, and they did me right. These are guys that are half my age that I used to grow weed with in California. And when I did grow weed in California, now my parents came for the Statue of Liberty. My grandparents came for the Statue of Liberty, and I stayed for the Statute of Limitations.
Rocky, you don't even know this about me. My grandfather's boat missed Ellis Island and ended up at Fantasy Island, and all his grandkids have midget fantasies.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Tattoo, wake up, they hum tattoo in the morning. It's a mantra. It's a crazy, crazy world.
Tattoo killed himself with a sawed-off shotgun.
Oh, the little guy did? Wow.
Yeah, he committed suicide with a sawed-off shotgun.
Oh.
And when I owned my pizza store, a dwarf came in with a half-off coupon.
All right.
And that's not a joke. And he came a half-off.
That I would have to put on the video camera right there.
And I didn't have one. And he whatchamacallit, he ordered an extra large. And his name was Shorty. And he was a short order cook.
All right, Rocky. These are folks that are just born small and God bless.
Oh, yeah, now you don't call them that other name. You call them little people.
Yeah. I think, I'll be honest with you, political correctness fucked up because little people sounds much more derogatory. You're a little person, not a big person, you're a little person, than a midget. A midget is smaller, that's all. It's not I never could see where that was. I enjoyed midget wrestling.
Steve Hopkins is now deceased, so Andre the Giant.
Now I'm an old man. Pardon me?
Steve Hopt saw Andre the Giant fighting 30 midgets and little people.
Really?
When his
and
mother...
little people. This must have been back when they were just crossing over from midget to little people. Some would say midget's better. Others would say, I want to be a little person.
Little person, their arms aren't long enough to wipe their own ass. That's why they come in pairs.
No, Rocky, that's not so.
It is
that's
so.
Not so. You have to realize that their ass is much closer to
No, Ben
arms.
Stewart.
Even though they're smaller, they have small legs, so they're not reaching down all that way. And this conversation, unfortunately, I would say, it's evolved. it's not devolved. It's evolved. This is nice.
Hey,
Rocky, how many times? I'm 71. I'm settled in. Do I get to talk my fantasy of Tally buying me a pony and a little person to ride it for me for my birthday?
You mean a miniature?
I will never get it. She said, "Don't ask again." So I don't even get to talk about it until times like this when I chat with my old buddy, and I'm a priest.
Well, the thing is,
very weird.
You get a miniature pony.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I was walking my dog in the park, and a woman was walking her pot-bellied pig, and I went up to her and said, "Better than walking a pot-bellied husband." And it turns out that the name of the pig was Piggy Smalls.
Piggy Smalls. All right.
Like the rapper Biggie Smalls?
Yes. That's very clever. Where is your park that you walk your dog? So if some
it's 1.5 blocks from my house, Desert Bloom Park on South Maryland Parkway in Las Vegas.
All right. So I'm going to tell my audience, if you're in Las Vegas, go to that locale, talk to Rocky. You got a great dog. Same dog as you had up here.
Yeah, same dog.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny how you say dog, and I've learned to say dog.
Okay. Well, actually, you say tomato, and I say tomato.
Exactly.
That's my Louis Armstrong callback, where he said to the most wonderful singer in the world that ever lived, he said, "Swing it, Ella." And she.
Oh yeah. Well, did you ever see him singing with Bing Crosby?
I don't remember specifically if I had or not. I'm sure I have on YouTube. I played these YouTube clips of all the old heroes. I saw recently Bing Crosby singing with Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin on the same stage on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are amazing. Der Bingle is what Hitler called him. Der Bingle.
And he refers to, when he jokes about that, he refers to that.
Hitler loved Bing Crosby and killing Jews.
I didn't know that. Why he picked?
It's sort of incongruent.
Crosby was a good Catholic, and it was probably in honor of the Catholic Church, for whom, without, there would have been no Holocaust. There would have been nobody to round up the Jews. We Jews, our ancestors. There would have been no one to do it without the Catholic Church. They were instrumental, absolutely, and his ties with the Catholic Church probably had a lot to do with that. Remember, in those days, Joseph Kennedy, a whole bunch of people were playing both ends against the middle. If Germany would have won the war, they'd be Heil Hitler with no problem. They developed a dialect.
Prince Edward of England was a Nazi.
Taking German lessons.
and the thing is, they caught Joseph Kennedy. He was the ambassador to England. They caught him heiling Hitler, and then they recalled him. And
well, let me tell you what he did when they recalled him. He would turn ships back with refugees to the United States who were escaping Germany, escaping Hitler, and he turned the ships back, and these people would then end up in concentration camps.
And no matter what anybody said, John F. Kennedy got what they gave him for many different reasons. And
I don't know.
They haven't told us that.
Can't go into that. I think there's nothing more logical than the conspiracy theory of LBJ, whose car pulled off the motorcade very shortly before the tragedy. LBJ and J. Edgar Hoover conspiring. They both had the most to lose and the most to gain.
No, I believe in the mafia theory because he had Robert Kennedy had Santo Trafficante deported. They picked him up in New Orleans, deported him to like Guatemala, and he couldn't get back in for 2 weeks. And between him and Sam Giancana and all these other guys, they want to say there was one shooter, and I believe there was more than one shooter.
Oh, had to be. The Grassy Knoll shooter was very real. And then there was the Officer Tippit thing, where his body was rumored to have been switched with John Kennedy's. A lot of things I haven't known, but we do know that the Warren Commission had as one of the members Gerald Ford was a member of the Warren Commission. Gerald Ford, who pardoned Nixon, who got the job. Gerald Ford, who spent 38 years in Congress and got not one bill passed in his name. That is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. So we have, it's always been corrupt. People say, well, things are bad, they're horrible today. They are much, much worse than they've ever been. But the discontent of the way things were going led to the election of this orange fucktard. So, you get back the good old days weren't all that good at any generation, and the differences between Democrats and Republicans over the years has been minute, keeping in mind that it was a Democrat, Harry Truman, who dropped a bomb on Hiroshima, dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. So, and also keep in mind, if you want to skip to the present, our ally is Saudi Arabia.
That's insanity. And
insanity.
Well, Saudi Arabia and Lebanon and Jordan were all created by what's called the Balfour Declaration in 1917 after, at the end of World War I. And they gave Saudi Arabia to the Saud family and gave Jordan to the Hashemites and the Hussein family, and I don't know who they gave Lebanon to, but all these were not countries before World War I. And
there is no Palestine. Everybody listening out there, Palestine is now Israel. Bunch of Arabs are not Palestine. They're called Palestine, but it's a small P. It's not a capital P.
Well, the Romans, the word Palestine is derived from the Roman word, and they were just, migrating tribes around a particular area and were not a country. And Israel, if you go back long enough, was a country. And yesterday, I met a bunch of Ethiopians, and I talked to the Ethiopians because the capital of Ethiopia is Addis Ababa. And the Queen of Sheba went to see Solomon in Israel, and he knocked her up. And she went back to Ethiopia and had the first king of Ethiopia named Melanik. And down through Melanik came Haile Selassie, who is God to the Jamaicans. And all I got to say is, yeah, man, we love the ganja.
And by the way, the Jamaicans are God to me, too. Rocky, this has been great. We're up against the time. I just want to tell you, when you're following current events, check out the ties between North Korea and Iran.
That's really dangerous. I'll tell you one thing. It
really is, and Iran is the country that does not recognize Israel's existence, and just says every day the leaders say, we want to drive Israel into the ocean. Now, you could take, as my good buddy Scott does, he says, well, that's not the opinion of the people of Iran. But let me tell you something. 80% of Muslims, 80% feel that way. Now, they don't come out, they're not every day active, and they don't all contribute to terrorism or anything like that. But it's a truism, Ralphie word, that 80% of Muslims are Orthodox, and their Orthodox ideology is simply that. And that's just, so there's no negotiating with these people. It has to be through strict sanctions. You can't do it any other way.
Hey,
you can't bomb these people. You cannot take innocent people out, but you can give them a program, put a program in place that that you tell them to take out their leaders. We will continually tighten the sanctions until you don't have toilet paper anymore. Not that everybody uses it there, but you know what I'm saying. And
they don't use toilet paper.
Pardon? No. 80. What would be the sense of that? But I'm digressing. You tighten the sanctions. You tell the people you must overthrow your regime.
And all I got to say is what Bob Dylan said. God said, Abraham, give me your son. Abe said, God, which one?
Right.
Robert
Zimmerman, a little Robert Zimmerman music in the past. Do you play the mouth organ, Rocky? If you could, we'd have like a cover band, a Rocky cover band, because you wear the Bob Dylan cap. I see you. Anybody want to get in touch with Rocky? One of the most fascinating characters I've met in my lifetime. And he's going to be back time and time again. Just to check.
You could look me up on Facebook.
Look him up on Facebook. Facebook.com.
Michael Rocky Grunner, Grunner, on Facebook, and contact me, and I'll be glad to talk to you.
He's the pillar of Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. The pillar of Las Vegas.
I don't know about. Hey, I want to mention that last week Ralphie May died, and
yes, he did.
And he was only 45, and he was a riot, but he wouldn't go on a diet.
Ralphie May was older than 45, I'm sure.
No, he's just 45.
Well, that might be the case.
No, he ate himself to death. He ate himself to death.
Sorry.
You can't be 450 pounds and live to be an old man.
Unless you're 7'11".
Unless you're 7'11". Exactly.
See you later, Rock. Thanks for coming by the zone.
I loved it, Ralph. And Ralph is a great guy. You take care, Ralph.
No. Let's not overstate Ralph just because I put you on the radio. Ralph's
no. You were always a great guy. When I sold you weed or whatever, I remember you showing me your first plant in the closet. And,
yes, way back in the day.
Cats that were just walking by would come by to use your cat's litter box,
Well, we had 5 cats. It's a little bit. We had to have a professional woman come to change the litter box who knew how to do 5 cats. All right. We'll talk to you soon, Rock.
Okay. I'll see you on Facebook or call me on the phone.
I'll see you in the funny pages.
Okay,
adios.
buddy. You take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Rocky. Michael Rocky Grunner. A New Yorker, a Californian, a Las Vegas guy, a wandering Jew. You
forgot Florida.
I forgot Florida. Hang up. See you later.
Okay.
How long were you in Florida? We never talked about that. Well, he did hang up. We probably never will talk about Florida for Rocky. He was only there a short period, I'm assuming. Be well, everybody.